It's great to see you guys here for this webinar about driving your business forward together with me, Fredrik Malmsten, and Marko Gyllenland. First of all, we're really happy to see you online, and we would also be really happy to you engaging with us throughout this session as well. You're welcome to to chat as well. We have the chat open, and also you can raise your hand as well throughout this session. We would like to hear your insights as well as we go along. But starting off a little bit, Marko, could you a little bit introduce yourself?
Hello, Fredrik and everyone on this webinar. My name is Marko Gyllenland. I'm from Sweden, Gothenburg, but I have Finnish parents, so I speak Finnish fluently. Moi kaikki, tervetuloa tähän webinaariin. Kiva tavata teitä kaikkia. So, and I'm excited about sharing my insights and knowledge since 30 years as an entrepreneur and business owner. I've been doing mostly sales and marketing, and I'm going to share at least 3 or 4 different tips today that can increase your sales even in bad times. So I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And just a little bit shortly about myself as well. I'm Fredrik, and I'm a sales manager at Seidat. I'm also from Sweden, but I don't speak as good Finnish as Marko. Not yet. My wife is Finnish, so I know some, and I'm living in Finland. But yeah, really happy to see you guys. I have been working with a little bit different things, working with sales, business development, also management consulting, and also been studying at Hanken School of Economics in Finland. So that's a little bit shortly about me. So diving into this webinar, we will have basically 4 different kind of topics today. First one, it's introduction and market analysis. Then we will have strategies for overcoming challenges and driving your business forward. Then we will go into maximizing business growth with AI technology and sales enablement. And then we will talk about hands-on tips to stay more efficient. Starting off here, introduction and market analysis. Marko, would you like to start us off a little bit talking about this topic?
Okay, thank you. I don't think it's a secret that the market is during hard times, the recent years. Some branches has grown and has great business growth, and others doesn't. And it's all about the financial markets and how it affects people's minds and psychology. So by working with sales, you get to know your customers' concerns and everything. So what we see, it's like people are more or less afraid of doing business. They're afraid of doing investments, and they're really careful. And but we see some businesses actually using this to gain momentum, and maybe they buy. Today there was a big news in the Swedish media. The Axfood bought City Gross, which was owned by Bergendal. It's not ready yet, of course, but they announced it. The papers were signed. So in these hard times, it's always possible to do business, both in good times and in hard times. But it tends that the smaller players tends to be more cautious and don't do the necessary step in moving forward. So this is what we see when we look at the market.
Right. And I've also noticed it quite a lot working with sales. I will go into a little bit today about Seidat and what it is, our SaaS solution. But something that has been, I think, quite interesting to see in the market, looking at the financial situation, is that companies are looking through the various systems that they're having in the company, and they are prioritizing which ones they should focus on. So basically having those nice to have versus must have tools. So if working with as a salesperson, especially doing SaaS sales, it's so essential to focus on what's the value that we can bring to your company. So it puts up higher pressure in a way for salespeople to really deliver and to be really sharp and to understand the companies that they're meeting, because I think we're going more into a situation where companies are spending less and spending money on the things that really matters to them. We're talking about, Marko, you talked about acquisition there. Would you like to mention anything about this, strategic understanding to make decision, and about the saving cost versus investments?
Let me see, where should I start? I think that if I take it from another angle, I think that many companies struggle out there and has a lot of pain points in their business. There are a lot of headaches, and it's most of those headaches are actually tracked back to sales or lack of sales. And I know that when we see this happen, I mean, people get cautious, and then businesses don't buy those things, and they investigate the opportunities maybe far too long, and they actually they spend too much time in research the opportunities. So I read somewhere today or yesterday about you only need to be 80% sure to make a decision about decision making. You don't need to be 100%, because then you act too late. So if you wait until you're 100% sure in order to buy another company or to buy in some program or any decision you're making, the 80-20 rule applies as well in business growth and in strategic thinking in business. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
of course, I like that. I think, okay, this is kind of comes into quite an interesting topic. If we think about overall Scandinavian companies versus, let's say, US companies, and sometimes, like, they are, let's say in the US, they are extremely good at selling what they have, even though their product might not be 100% there, it might be 80%. In a way, like, it seems like they're good to selling the product, even though it's, it has still some development. While as I think, at least in Finland, I think companies have the tendency they want to develop the product that it's so fantastic that, it can bring the value directly. I mean, like, that it should be like a really perfect product for them to sell it. And I think that is a bit interesting. Overall, what you can see, like, here we have a lot of engineers. Of course, there are good salespeople in Finland as well. But I mean, like, it is a little bit different culture as well, and how you see at those, taking the decision how you sell your product. And if we kind of looking at this a little bit more broadly, we have talked about the market conditions. We will also talk about more today about the opportunities coming forward. To kind of just give a background, in 2023, so last year, about 91% of companies failed to reach sales quotas, which is quite significant amount of companies. And I know that Marko also will go into that a little bit today about companies who have failed and maybe some things that we can learn. We also have this slide. Would you like to add something here, Marko, for the bankruptcy?
I mean, in hard times, we see this is the result of hard times, and we get a market where some players are, the value of what they are giving to the market and their customers is not there, and many times, I mean, we see many good companies with a great turnover, etc., actually go bankrupt, and I think that the bigger the company is, the bigger the risk is as well, because they're not that fast paced in changing directions, changing strategies. So we see bigger companies like multi-million companies go bankrupt, but they really have a really good business, and they have a good positioning, the marketing, and everything is in place, but they don't see it coming. They don't see when they need to do the change in developing their own business models. So many times this can be you can see the signs, but the companies becomes paralyzed and they don't see the solutions, and the result of that is bankruptcy ultimately. And it doesn't need to be like that. So
Right.
so this is what we see. These are numbers that I researched just a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard for many companies right now.
Yeah, and I also like this. Would you like to mention something? You said you really wanted to have this GIF to
Yeah,
show
I
us.
wanted this give. I mean, this is funny. This is how I think many business owners and business leaders feels like. They try to navigate in the tough times, and they need to have their team on board, and they need to have their processes and everything in line in order to become successful. And yeah, it's a wild ride to be an entrepreneur and be a business owner. It's a wild ride today.
Yeah, thank you, Marco. And going back a little bit, we can shortly talk about this before we're going. So basically, this first topic is about the challenges, and then we will go into some of the solution. We have also seen that we have longer sales cycles overall. It takes longer decisions for companies overall to choose which ways to go, giving the the financial situation that they really want to spend money on things that really matter. And then, of course, we have talked about the nice to have versus must have. And then I think kind of going into the next, now we have given them kind of the introduction here, talking about the market situation. There are a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of companies not reaching sales quotas. Companies are, I guess, not spending as much as before, but being more cautious when doing investments. And I think it leads pretty well to this next phase about strategies for overcoming challenges and driving business forward. Would you like to start us off here, Marco, given that you have about 30 years of experience within this field? And we're looking forward also for you to introduce your company as well, and what you guys are doing at ArenaStart.
Yeah, I think that looking into your own business, you need to have a different perspective. It's hard to maybe analyze or see what your business are going through in hard times, and sometimes it could be good to have someone else just to look into your business and see, okay, why are we doing this? And this has been successful before, but how is it going now? Well, maybe not. And then to try to adjust or orchestrate your sales, orchestrate your sales and marketing in a way that actually makes it work better. So I think that it could be more detail oriented in the strategy, and orchestrate your own sales and sales verticals. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I think that also that the sales needs to be improved. And we said many companies, at least here in Sweden, that I know of, and I have been helping, they lack of actual training. So when you hire a salesperson, most companies think that they are they're like 100%. They are a salesperson. But this person needs education, motivation, they need support, they need these things. And a lot of salespeople actually enjoy learning more and enjoy becoming better at their craft. And it's a small investment for the company, but it could actually return if the salesperson becomes like 10% better, you get that 10% every month for the rest of their lives, not just one
Right.
month or 2 months. It's a sustainable business growth that when you invest in your personnel, it doesn't only need to be the salespeople, but when you invest in your personnel and your staff, they get better at what they do, and hopefully that will lead to better results.
Yeah, you can think about this as a football player. He comes to a new football club, and he's a football player. He knows the rules. He knows how to pass the ball. He knows how to shoot. He knows how to run. He knows how to hit the ball with his head. But still, the person needs to practice every day. They need to learn how to work together with the other teammates. Need to learn about, okay, what are some of the weaknesses that the opponent team have. So before they have games, they need to learn the strategies. Okay, what are the weaknesses the opponent team have? What are some of our strengths, and how can we utilize our strengths to win at it or get an advantage in this game? And I think that's so much about sales as well, that even though you're a salesperson, it doesn't mean that you will go in directly, that you don't need any guidance, you don't need anything, you would just go in and sell and deliver directly. I think that's a wrong way to look at it. So thank you for pointing that out about training, and I think you will also a little bit more go into that, like the importance of getting training. But I also have a question for you, Marko. Now, giving those times that we are in, companies are selling more. How open are companies for trainings, for paying extra for trainings? Is that something that they're willing to do, or there's something that is kind of being developed right now?
I think that many of the companies, they must become better because they have no sales at all. Because if it's hard times and their customers holds back and are cautious, they need to become better or create a bigger value in their value proposition, or they need to do things differently. So I think that some companies must become better in sales in order to survive. And then there are the businesses that wants to excel and like have a exponential growth and maybe have like a very fast-paced sales and business growth. And there is other obstacles and other challenges in an organization like that. So every organization has their own challenges depending on where they're at, the market position, and what it looks like. But I think that a good sales trainer could easily understand the market position and see what needs to be done in order to increase the sales. So the outer perspective, again, somebody else to look into your business and be vulnerable and open to get that help. I mean, the 3-year-old, I know everything by myself. It's not good leadership, the 3-year-old mentality, knowing everything by yourself. So being open for feedback, being open for learning new things, and also vitalize and improve the sales processes. Maybe they could be shorter, maybe they could be more. Yeah, we're going to look into that a little bit later here. So I'm not going to tell everything up front.
Yeah, thank you. So with that being said, thank you for that, Marko. I think also, companies are different, and given the economic situation, I think we need to be better at prioritizing the work. If we think about, the classic management consulting perspective, like good, better, best, we need to do more of the things that are best because we might not have the resources to do everything that is good. And also, I think like focusing on the big value that you can create for the companies that you're selling to, I think that is a huge thing as well. What do you think, Marko? Would you be open sharing a little bit about ArenaStart, about your company?
Yeah, I could do that. ArenaStart founded two years ago. It's my baby basically, and I contacted maybe 20 people in my ecosystem, and I had a vision then, and I wanted to help companies to grow businesses, and we have different business areas. We're working both with startups, getting startups investment ready. We find investments for them, and we also supply what we call tillväxtcoacherna or growth coaches for those startups. So they're actually a full service management team concept for them to, and we have great growth coaches joined us. We presented 3 of them recently, so we present 1 a week now. And after this summer, I mean, all the growth coaches are presented. But we also worked with small and medium sized businesses, maybe 50 to 500 people, somewhere there. And we see that there we can create even more impact, because it's more risk and higher rewards for those companies. So here we can actually help them to work with growth strategies or explicit sales strategies or whatever. So we have those competences within our team and with our consultants, the growth coaches. So that's basically ArenaStart and tillväxtcoacherna.
Great. And then you have some other things there. Would you like to go into anything else specific there concerning tillväxtcoacherna, or overall like challenges for growth?
Well, what we see that, I mean, what we've been talking about, the challenges, we see those external factors and external obstacles or factors, and we have the internal. And those are all of those are combined, creates that locked position when companies don't know what to do, they don't find the solutions, they are not willing to invest in their business growth, and ultimately they go bankrupt. So these are the reasons and causes for the bankruptcies. And the external factors is, of course, the state of the financial market as we see it, and the uncertainty and complexity of the business landscape. And that of course creates some kind of paralysis in the market, that people are really afraid of doing anything, and they are able to take action, and the fear is stopping them from making any decision. There is a psychological thing that fear leads to, I'm too afraid to take any decision because I might be blamed by
Right.
stakeholders or by colleagues or by friends or by our boss or whatever. So the fear is not the best thing to work with in those times. We need to look ahead. So
Right.
and also we talked about the perspective, the outer perspective, and usually we cannot see that ourselves if we are like trying to rescue the company and to extinguish fires, as I written here, and we don't find those solutions when we are in that state of mind.
Right. So you
And
would
then,
say that with that in mind, so you would say that there's important as well, because of course companies, they are looking at things and trying to solve themselves, but you would really recommend having somebody external to come in to help them as well.
I think that they could have a wider or broader view. They don't necessarily need to have the branch specific knowledge, because there are so many. I mean, some of the tillväxt coaches, some of the growth coaches in our team, they have done turnovers of companies that struggle from 70 or 7 million euros to 30 million euros in 3 years, and journeys like this. One of the growth coaches has been in the board for Sony, the international company Sony, etc. So there are people with a lot of knowledge and experience, and I mean, I know for sure when I want to grow my business, I need some external point of view to get more information and understanding for what I could do, and then I could use my own experience together with the new perspectives to create a plan or strategy for my business.
Right. It would be interesting to hear as well in the chat if there is anybody who's had experience as well using external companies or external consultants or growth growth leaders to help your company grow. So if you would, you can just write there as well in the chat if there's anything you would like to add to this topic about challenges and also about your own experiences. If we kind of go, taking this, now we have talked a little bit about overall strategy. You also have a few tips, Marko, that I think it would be interesting for you to share. And during the time, of course, if anybody writes something in the chat, we will take it as it comes. But could you quickly just go through, because you have 3 tips, right? That you would like to share. Would you like to quickly go through those?
I will do that quickly. So I have 3 tips in different what I could see in different business areas. Some of them are more strategical, and some of them are more hands-on. The first one is more hands-on, the sales success formula. And if we look at the total sales per month per sales representative in your company, so that's a normal and understandable formula. So number of opportunities or meetings times the deal value and times the win rate. How many of these offers actually ends up in business? And then we have, okay, how long is the sales cycle? How many days are the sales cycle? So next slide, please.
Yes, thank you.
So we have this example here with Thomas, and the current situation, he books 10 meetings a month. The deal value for this company is 5,000 euros. The win rate is 20%, and the sales cycle length is 30 days. This could be like any company. And by improving 10%, and 10% improvement in booking meetings would increase from 10 to 11. So he would have 11 meetings. The deal value, maybe he has an add-on sales or whatever that makes the value go up in the deal. So 10% up is 5,500 euros. And the win rate increases by 10%, so that makes 22% win rate. And the sales cycle is shortened from 30 days to 27 days. And if you actually do the maths here, you get on a 30-day, on a monthly basis, 14,800 euros in sales in a month. And that's a great 48% increase for this salesperson. So this is a really simple way of actually looking that you could apply in your business right away to see how could our salespeople increase their sales within a short time period, and to actually, 48% increase in 1 month. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And then you have the if we continue, this is still part of the second tip, yeah?
Yeah, and it's all about, I've been studying a lot of international material, and traditional sales organizations only have 1 or 2 sales verticals. And what do I mean by sales verticals? It's like, yeah, we only have 1 or 2 ways to make money in the company. And this is how many companies look like, and they don't even think about exploring the possibility to find extra verticals. An extra vertical could be a new market, going outside Sweden or Finland, creating sales in like Germany, for instance. And what needs to be done there? Yeah, we might need to have a German website, not just only translated with any feature on WordPress or whatever. We need to have we could actually have like 20 different languages on our website, because when we're on the planet is getting smaller and smaller, and we could actually have business all around the world, not just selling in Swedish or Finnish or English. There are so many different countries and languages out there, so we could actually increase our sales by becoming more accessible for those countries and those markets.
Right. Something I could add there, actually. I think it's also important. Of course, beforehand, you can never know which market is the right one for your company. Something I heard that the Volt CEO, because he mentioned that they went from Finland to Sweden. That was their first market, but it didn't work out well at all in Sweden. And he said that was one of the worst decisions he made, to start in Sweden, because then they went to the Baltics, and then from there to Poland, and the company started to grow amazingly, like so much. So I think tips for me as well is that before you really decide on which market and you put all the resources, I think it's good to do like some kind of testing. That instead of saying, okay, now we will take this whole year, we will focus on, let's say, Germany, let's say. Instead, I would say it's better to maybe do like this, that you take 4 markets and then you do 3 months each, or you do 2 markets and you do 6 months each, and then you can really see, okay, where can we gain more traction in our growth? Because it's sometimes easy to focus, okay, we will go to this specific country. So I think it's good to try different things, because you never know beforehand, even though you think you have the most amazing plan, and even though you know the market situation in that new country, you still never know. So that's my recommendation, to start smaller, in maybe different markets, and then you see what works, and then you focus your efforts on that market.
I have a really good expression for that, and it's like, when you find that gold, you implement as hell. So if you want to take something out of this webinar, among all the nice things Fredrik has said already, implement as hell. When you find that spot, the sweet spot, I mean, that's when you actually can gain the momentum and the business growth. So try out, test different markets and strategies, and see what works for you, and orchestrate those, and kill your darlings, and go for what really creates business growth. So that's a really good tip, Fredrik.
Yeah, thanks. Let's go quickly to number 3 before we go to the next. Would you like to say anything specific there for tip number 3, Marko?
Okay. Did we have any other picture there about the business growth with the verticals? Yeah, the hockey stick effect. I mean, if you find what actually works for business growth, I mean, it could be the 8th vertical, and you actually get the momentum. So this way, instead of have the linear business growth, you could have the exponential growth, and you get these kind of numbers working on with this kind of leadership and this kind of sales and entrepreneurial mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Something I can add to that as well is that you need to have a really clear ICP. I think that is so important. Like, know who are we reaching? Like, which kind of companies? And then within these companies, maybe there are several different industries. So that you have the overall ICP. Let's say for Seidat, we're looking for companies who are doing quite a lot of sales, like direct sales, and there should be, I would say, at least 5 salespeople for it to make sense to use it. And then from that you have we have many different industries that we see that are really beneficial for Seidat. So I think that is also interesting. But I think you should always start with ICP, and then from there you can try those different verticals and those different industries.
So here we see how the music industry has developed, and we see those disruptions with actually. We had the music cassettes with the BASF and Maxwell and other companies, and then the Sony Walkman came with the music CDs, changed the market totally. And then we had Apple with iPod and electronical music. And then we have Spotify with the platform with electronical music. So here we see that different stakeholders has disrupted the music market and changed the behaviors of how to work within this branch. And we see also the blue S's there. So we could say that every growth journey and it's about an S, a growth S. And you start out slowly, and you get the perfect market fit, and you grow rapidly. And then we have the if we take the next picture there, Frederick, then we have the decline and the maturity point here. And this is what happens. And in many cases, many companies are too late. And when they get to the plateau and they decline, they don't find the solutions. But to recognize and understand these kind of the S curves of growth, understanding where you are at in this position with your company, you could actually uh, um, find those opportunities, those innovation windows for business growth. And for instance, if you take like we have example, it's not shown here with Arla, it's a Swedish, or no, it's a Danish company now, but with milk. So first we had like milk 3% fat, and when we have milk 0.5% fat, skin-free milk, and then we had different kinds of fats, ecological milk, and then we had milk done from oats or whatever. So by developing your company in your services and your products, you can have a business growth that is continuous. So you don't get to the plateau and decline and need to go bankrupt. But not many companies don't think like this. They are blown away by the growth, and they don't understand what happens when the growth is not there anymore, because there are other stakeholders out there that makes similar things that you do, and you start losing your position in the market. And this is a good, it gives you a good understanding for how to work strategically with your business in order to be relevant for the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. So kind of summarizing this, it's important to understand what are some things that work. Like we should have solid strategies, focus on the sweet spots, and if we don't have a sweet spot, we should figure out the sweet spot. I think that is very, very important. And then, as we talked about, getting the training, and we will have a QR code in the end where you can book a meeting with Marko and I as well. And then your company can get that expertise, outside expertise to help you grow. Another way to grow, which is very trendy right now, is talking about AI and sales enablement. First of all, the role of AI, it has really transformed the business world. It has been as if a new internet has come with AI, and personally, I've seen a lot of benefit using AI at work as well. And Marko and I will talk shortly about that as well. And something else when it comes to this, it's about sales enablement, and that is something that companies are looking more and more into. What are some of the modern tools that we can use to gain leverage in the market? How can we grow as a company? And with that in mind, I would like to mention a little bit about Seidat and our company, and how that can help companies to increase in sales, but also to have a tool that can support you better along the sales process. Starting off a little bit, I won't go super much into detail. I hope that later on, as we contact you guys, that you will get a more thorough understanding about the tool. We can go more into depth, but kind of giving you an overview is that we have a sales enablement platform, and in our tool, it's a new way of working with sales. If you're using presentations as part of your sales process, then you can see that you can actually use it in various ways. You can create new slides with our tool. I'm actually using the tool right now for showing the slides. You can create slides, you can present, you can share the presentation via link, which means that when the customer or when the prospect is opening the presentation, then you as a salesperson will get a notification, and you will actually understand when they're opening the presentation. But you can also look at what are some of the things that they're looking at in the presentation. So it gives more data. It helps you as well to have a better view of the sales process. But also, another issue that quite a lot of companies have, it's material management, that they might have the material scattered all around in different subfolders, in drives, and etc., meaning that they don't know where it is, but also how to find the latest material. And that is something that we solve as well with Seidat. We have helped quite many companies to cut times in when it comes to preparing for meeting, but also to send out materials after meeting. Because in our tool, we have a centralized collaboration platform. So all the slides that you're using, or all the presentations you're using in your company, you will have them in one place, which means that it is very easy for the different people in the company to find the right material at the right time. It also helps you to have a better way to be consistent as well. Because another issue is that, when talking about brand management, is that if you have different kind of presentations in the company, then usually people they make them their own kind of. They add things that maybe are not consistent. They might not have the same fonts or the same images and logos, which makes it very difficult for the marketing department to actually follow up the materials used in the company. But in Seidat, those things can be solved, because in the platform directly, you can put the brand settings, meaning that each time somebody creates a new slide, it will be according to the brand settings. You also have updated materials in the image bank, but also we have something called smart slides, which means that if you have many slides that are similar, like many slides that are used in different presentations, then you can just update them once, and it will be updated everywhere where it's used. So let's say you're a big company, you might have, let's say, 50 presentations with one specific slide. Then you just need to update it once, and it will be updated. So that is kind of, in short, what Seidat can do. Also, to kind of go more in depth, you can use it as a lead generation tool. So have it at your website as a lead magnet. You can also have it before meetings. When contacting, you can have it to present in meetings, as I've done today. Also, after the meeting, you can use it to send the material and also get the notification when the customers are opening it. You can also connect it to your CRM, which means that you can automate some of the processes. For instance, creating proposals. When you have the data in your CRM, you can automatically, when you put it as a, let's say, proposal stage, then it will automatically create the proposal in Seidat. And you can even sign the contract directly in our tool. So with that being said, it is a tool for the whole sales process. And I would love to continue the discussion with you guys later on. So please book a meeting with me, and then I can show you a little bit more about what we can do. So for instance, here I have used iframe, which means that I have our website directly in the presentation. So as well, going forward, we have also quite a lot of events coming. For instance, we have a new webinar in just a few days. So make sure to sign up for that one as well. Alrighty. With that being said, now we go to the final part, which is to talk about some of the tips and tricks that Marko and I would like to share with you guys. First of all, how do you use AI, Marko?
Well, I use it every day, so it has actually become a integrated part of how I work. So it saves me a lot of time, and yeah, I can create more in less time. So it's great. And you, Fredrik, how do you work with AI? I heard last week something didn't work out for you, and you felt like, well, how did I do this before AI?
Right, exactly. I was using. I had a lot of data in an Excel sheet, and then I wanted to clean it. And then ChatGPT wasn't working for like 2 hours. I felt like, wow, how can I survive this workday without ChatGPT? And then after a few hours, it was working, and I could save so much time, because I have learned that you can do different things. It's not only like, okay, I have this email, please write a nice response to it, or I would put something on a LinkedIn. make it personal. I want you to put on these, like focus on these things. Of course, those things are really nice, but something that I have learned recently is that it can actually help you to clean data as well. I had an Excel sheet with a lot of things that I didn't want to have. So then I was just putting the data there in ChatGPT, and I said, okay, can you clean this? And then it just vroom, and in like 30 seconds it cleaned the data. So basically, I had company information for companies that I had put out from a database, and it had like a specific letter for each company starting with. And when you have it in Excel, it doesn't look good. So that saved me so much time. And also, I was, I was recently also reading about writing my thesis, or as part of my studies. I'm now done, but I could just ask it like, "Hey, I have this data. Can you create a table for me?" And then he created a table with the data that I had, and then I just put it in the document that I was writing. So I think there are so many ways. Also, just quickly, you can see that I have somebody called Woodpecker in this call. Also, I'm be using Epic Brief, which is an AI note taker, and that is also a very cool thing because it can summarize the meeting that you've had without you being able to do it. It can also, I haven't done that too much, but it can also connect with your CRM, meaning that you don't at all need to do any work afterwards. You just push a button, and then it will populate the CRM after the meeting as well. That is something that salespeople love because they hate to do the manual work after meetings, doing all the notes and the CRM things. And Marko, you told me about Crisp. Could you quickly tell about that?
Yeah, that's a story a couple of years ago. I probably didn't realize it was AI behind it, but I had a really important meeting. It was like a big offering that we needed to go through, and it was like a 3 million euro offering, and it was like in the end of the in the end of the sales process. And I was between meetings, and there was a lot of traffic, and I thought maybe I should park the car and just take the meeting in the car. And then I realized I didn't have any batteries in my for my computer, so I needed to get power to my computer. So the closest thing was a hamburger bar, and they were playing so loud music in there. And I asked them to, I tried to explain that I have a really important meeting. Could you please lower the music? And they did for like 30 seconds. So I tried. There must be a solution. So I found Crisp.ai, and it saved my day because actually you can maybe drum or do different stupid sounds, and the other person in the other end doesn't hear anything. So it actually filters out everything else but the speaking part. So if you have loud kids in the background or whatever, you're working from home, Crisp was a lifesaver for me back then. And yeah, that's a good story.
Great, thank you so much, Marko. And also something before we summarize this meeting, we have two things more: time management and not being afraid of trying new things. Starting with time management, I think this is quite a tricky question because you can use there are so many good things you can do at work, but I think my my tips is like not being a headless chicken. If you work with sales, perhaps like calling 8 hours a day and maybe 4 people answer, maybe that is not the best way to do sales. You might feel like, okay, I've done a lot of activities and I have really high activity levels, but it might actually not lead to new deals. So I would say use your time efficient. Think about what are some of the ways that I can better use my time. Maybe it is to call 2 hours, or maybe it is to call 1 hour, and I will do some other kind of LinkedIn or use any other tools to get in touch with the people that I need to get in touch with. So that is my suggestion, is to just put the efforts where you think it can lead to the most results. And of course, if you feel that calling 8 hours a day is the best way, well, then you do that. Just like you need to find the ways there. Yeah. Would you like to add anything, Marko, there, or going to the next one there?
Yeah, I would like to. I like social selling actually, and I was a sales sales manager at the sales company, and I got 9 out of 10 booked meetings through LinkedIn, and it was by personal messages that led to a meeting. So that was really good. I think that planning ahead, like taking 1 hour in on Sunday evening and plan your week, it could be good. I usually use my calendar in order to put in tasks. So something more fun work doesn't take away my need for deep work or whatever. So I use my calendar, and also before I go to bed, I look into my calendar next day and see what are the three major things I need to do tomorrow in order to bring my business forward. So these are like regular time management tips I usually share with yeah uh, my colleagues and my customers.
Great, thank you. And also the last thing there, not being afraid of trying new things. I think that is so essential, because personally, I don't like that mentality, kind of like, okay, this is how we always have done it, and this is how we should do it. But on the other hand, like if you do as you have always done, then you cannot expect anything different to happen. I think it's important to be open and to be in a way humble as well. That okay, what are some new things that actually can work? And one tips I have there, I have a good friend who has developed a product called Weasley, and there you can send like personalized videos through email, and you can connect it with your CRM, so you can send thousands of videos at the same time, and then you will do one video where you would talk, and then you will, when you put the name of the people you will reach out to, you will put the website. So then the video, you will talk in the video, and then it will actually look like you're scrolling their website. So I think that is a quite cool tool to use. So just doing something different, I think it's also refreshing. You learn new things, and you learn what works and don't. Would you like to add anything here, Marko, before we kind of summarize this session?
I was thinking about doing new things and being efficient with your sales. If you haven't tried it, you could send out like 10 SMS or text messages in the morning, maybe 7:30, and just a short message, and say that you would like to speak to those people. And people tend to have their phones nearby, and then they can answer that. I cannot do it at 5 o'clock, but could we talk tomorrow or whatever? And then you can actually get booked meetings through text message in a very short time with the people you would like to. But basically, those people you already have some kind of connection with, or you know them. So that's that I have done really successfully. So that creates a lot of great meetings.
Right, I love that, because usually, we're talking about it's good to call in the morning when they've started to work, but I think sometimes getting even of course you won't call somebody maybe 7:30. So I think that's a good way. Like if you send a text message, they haven't started their day yet, they haven't had any meetings. I think then it's a good time to reach, because if we think about a salesperson, you need to really go through the clutter. Those people reaching out, if it's CEOs or sales directors or whoever, they might get hundreds of emails and calls every single day. So I think that is also a very, very nice point there to think about how you can go through the clutter and how you better can reach out. With that being said, we just to summarize today, we have talked about introduction market analysis, about the challenges in today's world, and then we have gone into the strategies for overcoming these challenges, focusing on ICP, focusing on strategies that can help your company grow. Then we have gone into a little bit sales enablement and AI, and also shortly talked about some hands-on tips to stay more efficient. We also would love to get in touch with you guys. We're really grateful for your time. We understand that we're going close to vacations, and you have a lot to do. So we're really grateful that you took up your time to attend this webinar. So if you're able, please scan our QR codes. We will be really happy to reach out to you. With that being said, Marko, what would you like to say to the people here as some final thoughts?
Yeah, I have a quote that I use. I don't have it in my head specifically right now, but in order to think about what do you need to do as a business owner today in order to be relevant in the future. So that's a question I usually pass on. So what do you need to do to know, understand, and do today in order to be relevant tomorrow?
That's beautiful. And something I can add that, every day is a new opportunity. Really, what happened yesterday, you can't really do anything about it. And what will happen in the future, you cannot affect. But really, what you can affect is right now. So if you've been struggling at work, if you've been struggling with sales, by the start of the day, you have a new chance to make the future happen. So I think with those things, we want to thank everybody who has joined us today, and we look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.